Right, now the environments in which projects operate, page 1.12. Here we're going to have a look at the organization that you're working in and project teams. So the organization, it's all very well to have a PMBOK, it's all very well to have a set of processes and procedures, but it's hugely influenced by the environment, the organization environment, which is why the project management body of knowledge has some of the inputs and outputs to processes are often the organizational environmental factors. So projects are structured, so let's first look at the structure of the organization. Projects are influenced by the organization structure. There are several typical structures here which are important to know for the PMP exam. You won't be asked questions directly about these structures, but you'll need to know what they are, because if a particular question mentions a matrix structure or a functional organization, you need to know what it is in order to help you answer the question correctly. So first of all, a functional organization. This is your classic hierarchy where a company is organized into departments that are like silos, and there are functional managers. The PMBOK uses the word functional manager as department head. It's the same thing. And if you have staff, the shaded staff members in different departments who are working on one project, there's generally little or no interaction between them, between departments. The coordination is done at the functional manager's level, the department's head level. Then we have a matrix organization where, yes, we have these different departments with their functional managers or department heads, but there is some cross-coordination between the departments. And there are three types. There are weak, balanced, and strong matrix. And that depends on the balance of power between the project manager and the functional manager, the department's head. In the weak matrix, this slide, the power for controlling staff and money and other resources lies with the functional manager. The project manager is just a coordinator, so coordinate staff. The next one, top of page 1.14, there's a balance of power. Power is shared between the project manager and the staff, the functional manager. So here you see a project manager coordinating staff from other departments in a project. And the power for control over resources, managing the staff, money, and any other aspects that affect the staff is balanced between the project manager and the functional managers. And then in a strong matrix, the project manager, the power rests with the project manager, and the functional managers are there really just to manage the HR issues of their staff and technical issues, making sure that the staff in their departments are technically up to speed. So, for example, if you work in a company where there's an electrical engineering department, a QS department, civil engineers and structural engineers, and so on, and you sit in a department of the project managers, you'll go to each of these heads and say, look, I want some people from our project team for this new project I'm starting. They'll provide you with the staff, and the architect will just be looking after the HR issues of his or her staff, and will also be making sure that his or her staff members have the right technical expertise they're not keeping up to speed, and maybe organize training and that sort of thing. Similarly with the electrical engineer and the civil engineer, head of that department, and so on. So that's matrix organizations. Then there is a project-oriented organization where the emphasis is so strongly on projects that you don't have formal departments. You have a project managers running teams. And of course, when a project is finished, this team will be disbanded and the staff will be reallocated to another team. So the clue here that it's a project-oriented organization is in an exam question. You see the third bullet point, the staff have no home or department. When a project is over, they are assigned to another project. I guess contractors would fall into this category. Some contractors, because once a contract is finished, the various personnel who've been working, the site agent and other personnel who've been working on that project will all be on that contract, will all be assigned to other contracts. Okay, then a hybrid is simply all different types mixed together. You have the various types that I've described all happening in this organization. And then top of page 1.16, other types are simple or organic. So that is, there's very little structure. It's organic, it flows, and your people adapt their roles as required. A virtual organization is an online one, something we could hardly have imagined before the COVID crisis hit us, but certainly can easily be a reality now. And then a PMO is a portfolio, program, or project management office organization. And this is one where the project management staff, or at least some of them, sit in this PMO, and projects are driven by the PMO. This table very nicely summarizes the different structures, and you can thank me for it because I spent ages preparing this table, which is much nicer than the table in the PMBOK. So you've got down the left the different types of organizations, and then you'll see how the patterns emerge here. I'm not going to go through the whole table, but to take some examples, the role of the project manager from functional through to weak, balanced, and strong matrix. The project manager's role moves from part-time to full-time. His or her authority moves from low to high. The availability of resources to the project manager moves from low through to high. The person who manages the budgets moves from the functional manager through to the project manager. And the project management admin staff move from none through to part-time through to full-time. So I recommend that you know this table, that you learn this table for the exam. There's not a lot of memory work for the PMP exam. There is a lot of memory work for the captain exam, but for the PMP, there are a few things that you need to remember. And this is one of them. This will be helpful in answering some questions, in understanding concepts. Okay, I want to turn our attention to the project environment. We're talking about the project environment, and we're talking about project teams and the organization. So let's have a look at the key role players on an internal project versus an external project. So an internal project is one where everything is done using internal resources. For example, a bank running mainly IT projects using their own internal resources, or a municipality using internal departments for road maintenance and for road design work, all internal resources. So here you have what's called the performing organization, because they're performing the work of the project, and different levels of management and employees. And we have the project team coordinated by a project manager. And then at a senior management level, a person who's referred to as the project sponsor. And this sponsor is the person who the project manager reports to, not necessarily the project manager's line manager, but on a particular project, the project manager reports to this person, because the sponsor is the one who is responsible for writing that project charter and initiating the project and liaising with senior management at a senior management level and championing the project at a senior management level. The sponsor might have been the person who initiated the project and got it rolling. And then, of course, we've got our end users who are going to be using whatever the product is. If we're building a road, if it's a municipality, they're the ones who are going to be using the road. Or you could see the end users, the clients, as the people who are going to be another department in the municipality that's going to be maintaining that road, taking it over for maintenance. And this organogram shows how the project manager reports to a line manager, the project manager's functional manager, who might be a program manager or portfolio manager, and the sponsor might or might not be this person that the project manager reports to, or someone else from senior management for a specific project, a sponsor for a specific project. And then there's senior management sitting above, and the project manager coordinates a project team. So that's an internal project. Then we have an external project. Here's the, if you like, the sponsoring organization. You won't see that term in the PMBOK, that's what we've called it. So that's now the bank or the municipality that's wanting the project. But that municipality outsources the work to consultants and contractors, or to maybe a JV to do design and build on contract. And the organization that it's outsourced to now becomes a performing organization, or you could have multiple ones of these, multiple consultants and contractors with their teams of project manager and project team members reporting to the sponsor, this project sponsor in the original sponsoring organization. So that's an external project that's been outsourced. Organogram, the sponsoring organization has a sponsor in it. The project manager reports to that person, can be sometimes referred to as a principal agent, engineer, architect, or team leader. And that project manager manages a team of professionals and contractors. Now, folk, wherever you are working, whatever yours, wherever you fit into this, whether you're a contractor, you're part of a professional team, you're a consulting engineer, you're a project manager coordinating these people, or you're a sponsor, you have a project management role to fulfill. to carry out in your projects, managing all the different aspects we'll be talking about, scope and the budget and the time and resources and so on and so on and so on. Okay, let's have a look at some, again, so we're still with clarifying who the key role players are. Let's have a look first at the key documents. So this sponsor is responsible for making sure that the business case is compiled and approved. The sponsor might write the business case him or herself, or it might be written by someone else, by an analyst maybe, but the sponsor will make sure that that business case is correct and that it is that it aligns with the organization's strategic goals and objectives, and will get that business case approved and hence the project approved in senior management. The sponsor is also responsible for the benefits management plan, and most importantly, for your PMP, the project charter. He or she is the person who compiles this charter. Or even if the project manager assists with that, the sponsor is the one who's accountable and has got to sign it off. So it's the sponsor's primary responsibility or accountability is that charter. The project manager is responsible for the project management plan. In other words, the detailed project plans. So those are documents. Now, when we come to responsibilities, the sponsor is responsible for initiating the project, liaising with senior management, and clearing obstacles to the project manager. So if you as project manager have things that are standing in your way that you cannot resolve yourself, the sponsor, who is a part of senior management, can go and network with other people at his or her level and clear those obstacles for you. You as a project manager are responsible for assisting with the business documents. So if the sponsor needs assistance in preparing the business case, the benefits management plan, or even the charter, you can assist him or her. The detailed planning of the project, the sponsor is not interested in the detailed nuts and bolts planning unless he or she is a micromanager. And then the sponsor is not doing what they should be doing. You're responsible for the daily coordination. The sponsor is not interested in the blow-by-blow details of what's happening on a day-by-day basis on your project. The sponsor's got the big picture in view. He or she initiates a project, hands it over to you, you then do the project planning, and then you are reporting to that person maybe on a monthly basis or whenever the sponsor wants it, on high-level reporting. So detailed planning, daily project coordination, managing the project team, and clearing obstacles to the project team. So just as the sponsor should clear obstacles to the project manager, so you as project manager should clear obstacles to your project team. The project team then is responsible simply for creating the deliverables. Okay, when happy with those concepts, it's good to have these things clear in your mind. When I did my PMP, it was when I was starting, you know, when I was read the first few chapters of the PMBOK back in 2004, it was hard for me to understand these concepts that we've been going through now, because they weren't so clearly spelt out. And that's why we've included these in our notes, so that it's absolutely clear for you how all this should fit together. All right, the project management office, just very briefly, I don't need to go into detail with this. It's a central office or department for supporting projects. It might have a supportive role that provides just processes, templates of training, controlling role, requiring compliance to certain standards or systems, or directive role, where project managers sit in the PMO and actually manage certain projects. Now, project stakeholders, folks, this concept of stakeholders, the term stakeholder refers to all the people or organizations or groups of people that are involved with the project or affected by it. So it starts off with you at the center, the project manager, expands to your project team around you, the sponsor, customers, end users, anyone in your organization who's involved, such as managers or other departments. It includes all your vendors, your sellers, your consultants, your contractors, your subcontractors, your suppliers. It includes external stakeholders such as environmental lobbying groups, the local community, the business community, those business forums. Anyone who's involved with, affected by, or thinks they're involved with the project is a stakeholder. Very generic term. All right. Now we move on to enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. Folks, these are two nice mouthfuls that you can just sort of throw out at the dinner table tonight to impress your family. Talking about blah, blah. Enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets, and your family will be like, what? So enterprise is the organization, environmental is the environment. So basically this is saying the environment of your organization, the company you work in. Project managers have to work with existing company culture and systems. So examples of this include organizational culture and structure. So for example, you may have a culture of people in your organization being transparent for sharing information or not transparent. Systems, whatever systems a company's got, and there can be many different types of systems, HR systems, communication systems, infrastructure, buildings. The port has lots of lovely examples, sheds, conveyor belts. Project management information systems, abbreviated to PMIS. All such things fall under this category. And you'll see this term PMIS coming up a lot, Project Management Information System. It just refers to all computerized automated tools, such as, and here's some examples, scheduling software, the work authorization system that authorizes when people can proceed with work, file storage systems, procurement management system, a configuration management system that manages revisions of documents and drawings, and repositories for historical project information or for any information, computerized repositories. Okay, so that's in enterprise environmental factors. Then organizational process assets. Right, so again, organizational, it's your organization you work for. Processes, we're talking here about project management processes, and it's process assets. So it's not buildings, it's not tangible assets, it's the assets that a company has in terms of the processes and procedures they've built up over the years or purchased, and or had a consultant develop for them, and these are now processes that are strong and they can use. So these help projects to benefit from past experience. It includes the processes and procedures that are followed, historical information from previous projects, such as old work breakdown structures, schedules, programs, cost estimates, reports, risk assessments, project management plans, project plans, contract documents, etc., etc. And the lessons learned database. So that's lessons learned from previous projects that will assist your projects, and lessons learned on your project that will assist other projects. So this is everything from the past that will help the present. Okay, so now the easy way to remember this, folk. Enterprise environmental factors. Let's go up to that previous slide. These words highlighted in yellow. Think of company culture and systems. That's enterprise environmental factors, culture and systems. Organizational process assets. Think of everything that from the past that will help the present. All the templates and historical information, all your lessons learned, and all the processes, the project management processes and procedures that have been developed over the years. Everything from the past that helps the present, or OPAs. You with me? Now this you're going to see coming up again, time and again, as inputs and outputs to processes. And if you think about it, they have a huge impact on how projects are run. Because the way in which project management is implemented in a company is hugely impacted by the enterprise, or by the environment in which you're operating, and by the process and procedures you've got and the historical information and so on.